Welcome everyone to the LEC post-game lobby. I'm Sjokz, joined here by Drakos and Bwipo. It's been like 10 minutes and I'm still so like giddy and excited about that series as a whole. So Bwipo, I mean, are you still feeling the jitters? And tell me what happened in those last minutes.
I think I started to calm down a little bit now. I don't know what happened. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I think we were in a winning position, and then I threw, and then I was hoping someone in G2 would do the same, and then thank you, Caps.
Oh, I mean, does it feel a little good that it was Caps?
No, honestly, not at all. I think they played a really good series, and Caps, like in that game, I think he pulled off some really, really sick plays. So honestly, like, I don't want to blame anyone. It was more of a joke. Like, I think it was just a really solid series, and I think everyone played their heart out, and I think that's not something you can usually say about a series. Like, everyone had ups and downs, let me put it that way. It wasn't like someone was consistently beating their lane opponent. I feel like everybody in the game got their chance to shine at some point, and that's what I like the most.
I think I have so many gameplay questions that, like, for specific games that just feel not important at all now in the context of this day. So I just got to know, like, does it feel like a weight lifted off your shoulders to know that this 5-man lineup can beat this 5-man G2 squad?
Oh, of course. I mean, it's always a relief to know that you can beat the best team in your region, or formerly best team. I don't think we can quite assume that we're the best now. We still have a finals to win. But yeah. Oh, that's mean thing.
Oh, yeah, we selected that for you.
Hey, I did a lot of damage, no?
Not
bad, look at Perks. He's confused. He's like, what just happened?
Tell me about yeah, tell me about kind of the final moments, because, you know, at every moment looked like you guys should have won, and then, like, there was the Perks kind of backdoor, there was Caps trying to pick you guys off. Were you on your toes until the last second?
Absolutely. I mean, even right now, you know, we felt like this was the winning fight because they all burned their flashes, but then Caps came in with a huge flank and almost like basically deleted our whole team, and me and Suffering ran out of damage. But even at the end right here, like Nemesis was really ahead of the curve and was waiting with the culling. I was looking with the Gangplank ult, and we just well, took care of him. And yeah, I don't know, it was crazy as hell. Like, I think at the very end when we got the Ocean Soul, and we knew, like, Reckless like rallied the team, and he was like, guys, it's really won. Give it, just play it out, please. He was like, please, guys, please.
Oh, so I love that.
That's what I remember right now. Just like, please.
Reckless being like,
we can win 100% here.
We haven't won a best of 5 since spring 2018 versus G2. Please close this out. Yeah, by the way, that in itself, Bwipo, as Drakos said about the weight lifted off your shoulders, but not being able to beat a team, the team that's the best, by the way, since spring 2018, that must just mess with your confidence.
I mean, honestly, not really. Like, I don't think it really messes, like, not with mine at least, but I think that's a bit my issue. Sometimes I get overconfident. Even in this series, we saw a lot of that. But I think what's nice is just being reminded that we have the right idea. It's not really like a confidence breaker. It's more like you second guess some of the things you're doing. I think when you're the best team in the region, you don't second guess. You're just, we're the best. This is what we do. And anyone that wants to beat us will have to come to us and challenge us, rather than we're thinking of plans to challenge G2.
When it comes to kind of a question about the style and the approach to the games, of course, last week we saw you guys kind of finding the solution. That's not me. Finding the solution in that, you know, you got the carry junglers, then the farming junglers for self-made AP junglers rather, and, you know, it all worked out. It seemed like you were pushed picks and bans-wise in this one. How much do you feel G2 pushed your buttons when it comes to draft specifically?
Honestly, not that much. I'll be honest. I think that they were happy with what they got, and they ended up giving us what we wanted. So even though it wasn't like AP junglers and whatnot, like it was the Hecarim in this particular series, but he fulfills a similar role, right? Like a champion that gets really big, the more he can farm, the more gold he can obtain, the more levels he can get, the bigger he's going to get. So we just like rolled with the Hecarim until it got banned, and then we adapted our style.
So we heard about this a little bit at the start of the day from some of the staff in your organization, but I also kind of want to get your take on it as well, because it has been such a massive turnaround from Fnatic. Because last week it felt like you guys were winning, it was very scrappy, and it felt like it was this Lucian mid and, you know, like AP jungler, and that kind of felt like it's all it was. And now it feels like the style has once again week to week evolved in what you've shown here. What is it that's allowing you to progress so rapidly in terms of development compared to the regular season, where we look back, you guys were 9-9, it was like barely scraping into playoffs, and now suddenly you're on top of the world. What has actually prompted this incredible meteoric rise of this Fnatic squad?
Individuals. I think that the individuals stepping up and like everyone's demanding something, and we all find a solution at some point. That's the best way I can really describe it. Like, for example, Selfmade is like, I really want to play carry junglers, and everyone was like, yeah, I mean, we feel like that's going to be the best for our team, right? Because when we were playing the set and all, it worked, but we didn't feel like it was that consistent. So we decided, you know what, let's just play our style, let's just do what our players are really good at. And that comes from the individual standpoint, right? The people from, like, it comes from within the team, from the players, like, I want to do this, and then you have, you know, everyone giving their suggestions on how to make that style work, or how to potentially get their take on how we should be playing the game, right? So in this case, we all rallied around the idea of Selfmade on the carry junglers, and then everyone plays their part in that. But for all we know, you know, next week it'll be different if we don't feel like that's the best way of going. But for now, I think it's shown us some great success.
It absolutely has. He's also the Kia player of the series, Selfmade with 77% of the votes. And now, when we talk about Oscar and kind of the context of this Fnatic, I think if you take a step back, you realize that, you know, it is a big adjustment to bring this jungler into this lineup just at the beginning of this year, and we were expecting rapid results, but it seems like now, finally, at this point in summer, all of these relationships with Selfmade in the team and all the kind of puzzle pieces are clicking in a whole different way. Do you feel that that's been kind of the trend of the last couple of weeks, or am I off here?
I mean, we're clicking, but like I said, I think everyone's finding what works for them and what works in the grand scheme of things at the same time. So it's a matter of, like, in a way, we're finding the puzzle pieces necessary. It's just a matter of we're putting them together one by one. So, like, for example, the champion pool I'm playing, the champion pool mid lane's playing, and the champion pool jungle's playing. We have to make sure that we have the right mix of damage and the champion synergize well and whatnot. And we're slotting in one by one on these picks and making sure that we have, you know, an actual coherent comp, which is something that, for example, game 4, you saw a struggle in, right, where we ended up picking Camille, and then Kassadin, Hecarim, and then, like, they had Taric, right? And then it's like, we have Camille, Hecarim into Taric, and we're like, oh, you know, like, Jesus, that's rough, you know, like, that was a really good pick. So that was an example of, like, we probably should have taken away the Shen and not gave him Shen Taric, which was, like, obviously great counters to Hecarim, right? And that's an example of something that we can do much better still.
A small question about that, because I did have the feeling in especially that game and maybe some of the others as well, that there were a lot of points where you ended up losing important moments of the game, but it was so close. It was like you couldn't last hit someone, or Reckless couldn't last hit someone, or for some reason they pulled someone away because of, as you say, those mechanics. I mean, I would have tilted. How tilt-proof is this Fnatic? Apparently very.
I don't think so. Like, honestly, like, the thing about these series is, like, I think the best way to describe it is we've reached a point where there's not much difference between being tilted and not tilted, because we're leaning more towards playing the way we would play when we're tilted. So I guess our secret is that we're always tilted or something like that. I'm sure you can make that joke, but it's not that bad, obviously. It's just I feel like I said, everyone found their own style, tries to do their own thing, what works for us, right? And that means that even when you're tilted, you can just autopilot your way through because you're so used to doing it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great series and it was a great victory. Does mean that you guys are moving on to the final, and G2 will of course face the winner of Rogue versus Mad Lions. I do want to ask you kind of about your feelings about G2 after this, because maybe with other opponents you would say, well, we beat them once, so that's it. But I have an inkling that with G2, that's not the same. You know, how do you feel they'll be able to rebound? Do you think they will, first off, versus Rogue or Mad Lions? And how much stronger they could be once you meet them in the finals?
I would assume that they're going to make it to the finals. Based on what I've seen, like, I feel like G2 right now, like, the first game coming into our series, they came in with a Lilia, right? Trying to match the scaling jungle, try to, you know, play a fast-paced jungler that clears jungle fast, gets very far ahead, profits from items, profits from experience, but didn't quite work out. And then they relied on the set to, like, really get the early game going, and they did manage to do that a couple of times. And I feel like teams like Mad and Rogue might struggle to answer G2 in that specific situation. And obviously, thanks to some great fortune on our side as well, we were able to handle G2 in that sense. But I don't feel like our early games were perfect by any means. And I think G2 threw at least game 3 out of the window. I'll give you that much.
Absolutely.
So if they didn't do that, we wouldn't be talking here. So I wouldn't really say that G2 is quite there, but I would say that if anything, I suspect that they're going to try and change up some of the picks, some of the meta, especially in the jungle for them, because obviously Set was a huge reason why their early games were going well, and I think from their perspective, they're thinking like, what can we do when Set is out? Because I feel like G2 with Set and without Set are actually a very huge difference from what I've seen, at least even on other teams, against other teams. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so for you, Bwipo, how much of an advantage do you think that you have coming into the next best of 5, getting to watch at least one more best of 5 with G2, if that is who you're going to play? Because it feels like even in the context of the series, we heard Laura ask Reckless about it earlier, but there was a lot of evolution in draft in terms of what teams were prioritizing. You talked about it in the jungle picks as well. So because you're now sitting in finals, does it feel like it's going to be really easy for the Fnatic lineup to dissect exactly what G2 is trying to do? Or do you feel like you're going to come in just like you did today with maybe, I don't know, kind of a blank slate in terms of what to expect in draft?
I mean, honestly, I feel like they put all their cards on the table today. Like it was obvious, like once the Set LeBlanc rotation worked for them the first time, they committed to it in game 5. So I feel like that was their that was them committing to that style. That was them being like, this is our best. I could be wrong, of course, and who knows, Lulu Cog coming again. Nightmares with us still. No, I'm kidding. I'm just saying. Last time we faced G2 in the finals, very different style all of a sudden. I imagine that it's possible that they're going to take a similar approach because obviously, they just lost, so maybe they should try something else. And in the very, very late games, it wasn't really like a whitewash, right? Like the first game, I feel like the first and second game was actually more of a story of Akali into Orianna, and the Akali never really got going on either side, and Orianna kind of made fun of Akali at some point and just killed everyone else. So I feel like that kind of set the tone for late game being rather important in our series, and I think that that's something that G2 will definitely revise as well from their perspective. Like how valuable is late game for us, and how much do we trust ourselves to play such an early game comp again? Because even in the LeBlanc Set games, the LeBlanc was showing up, dealing significant amounts of damage in the late game team fights. So
yeah, I mean,
I think late game is still going to be a huge deal.
Yeah, I mean, Caps LeBlanc is
it's
no slouch. And, I tried to bait you there earlier, but of course I have endless respect for Caps, and we have to remember he was playing out of his mind for most of that series once again. And I think that's where, with G2, they went down to the lower bracket last split also, let me remind people. And they took that as an opportunity to shore up everything. Drakos, I'm just going to ask you a question. How much do you think we're going to see a repeat of that?
I mean, I think that the thing that you're most scared of is exactly what Bwipo talked about, where G2 just showed up in the finals and they're like, we play Lulu Cog now.
Yes,
Enchanter supports the thing. This is like, it's like almost a complete and total meta swap out of anything we had ever seen before. And I think that's the big fear for Fnatic. But for the rest of the teams, yeah, I think G2, now it's nose to the grindstone. Now it's back against the wall, so every game is going to matter. We obviously saw, God, it feels so long ago now, but game 3, where it felt like a very, G2 decided game. Yeah, today. And then G2 threw it away. And I don't think we're going to see another game like that. Now, of course, Fnatic punished beautifully. Maybe Mad or Rogue would not be able to do the same thing. But I don't think we're going to see that version of G2 ever again on the stage until, well, maybe they're 2-1 up in another series.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so interesting. This development is just, if you follow kind of, I think, the story of playoffs, this is just a great thing from a spectator perspective, right? And tomorrow we'll be closing out the week. We still have another best 5. Rogue versus Mad Lions, 2 of the new top teams in the LEC, who now really have to prove themselves. Bwipo, they were #1, but now, you guys in G2 said, hey, did you forget about us? What do you think we're going to see from Rogue and Mad tomorrow?
It's going to be hard to tell. I think, honestly, Mad Lions have kind of a... so I feel like Mad Lions are very similar but different. And the way I would say that is because I feel like Shadow is leaning more towards the Lilia farming up, getting big, and Inspired is still sticking to the set more and having Larson play the Azir, whereas Mad is playing more Galio, more Akali, trying to get some early game going from the mid lane position, and the jungler is trying to scale up a bit more. Maybe that's just specifically with Lilia. We saw the Hecarim as well, so I think in that idea, it's going to be a clash of mid-jungle mostly, right? Like, see how far ahead the early game champion can get of the scaling counterpart and play it out from there. Because I think the side lanes are pretty evenly matched, in my opinion. I think still really good, but I don't think anything special is going to happen there.
Quick prediction?
I would 3-1 Rogue. That's my take. It will heavily depend on how much Mad Lions are able to adapt, and my prediction is purely based off the fact that I think that Lilia will get banned and Shadow will struggle to find similar advantages on the Hecarim, for example.
It's cool to hear someone finally predict in favor of Rogue, too, because this is a team that consistency has been their big strength, but whenever we talk about them compared to other top teams, they never feel like they're number ones on anyone's list, so good to have that as well. I still feel, though, at the same time, you're right, Shadow, I think, probably less reliable, as Inspired outside of those situations where he has the Lee Sin, where he has the Lilia from what we saw in the series last week, but I can't... Maybe it's just because I've been watching too many Fnatic G2 games, but Kaiser's a playmaker, and I'm a sucker for a playmaker, so I'm gonna say 3-1 Mad. It's not gonna be a clean series by any means, but I gotta give the edge to the Lions.
Let's see. We've been spoiled already today. I hope we are tomorrow as well. Gonna take a quick selfie with Bwipo before we send you guys off. We still miss you at the studio. We know we're not gonna see you next week, so we need to get our selfies in. This time I will remember my right from my left, which I didn't yesterday. It's not that hard, Sjokz. All right. Here we go. Cheers. Not cheers.
Cheers.
I mean, cheers for your series, I guess.
Right.
I meant
we got
cheers.
there.
Anyway, thank you so much, Bwipo. We're going to let you go. Congratulations on a fantastic series.
Thank you very much.
No problem. That was all from us here, but across the Atlantic, we've got a battle for the ages. So hyped about this one. TSM versus Cloud9 for a spot at Worlds. Hopefully also 5 games. And we'll be back tomorrow for Rogue versus the Mad Lions. See you then.
He's forced to dash over the wall to safety to escape for his life.
Wonder.
The Gnar into the wall. Wonder finds the double stun, but he's shut down. Reckless gets another. Dredge line onto Mickey. He goes down as well. Shockwave is up for Caps. He's got a lot of damage. His Nemesis goes all the way forward. The Shockwave catches him. He's down. What was that? Now the turnaround. The Curse of the Black Fist gets another kill. Jankos gets the third of the fight. The Dredge line connects onto the wall. Mickey doesn't find Reckless, but his flash is down. The Baron is picked up, and here comes the rest of Fnatic now for the fight. Mickey's inside the pit. The Lantern's available. The Shockwave comes up. That catches two. It's a fight on multiple fronts, but Fnatic are winning it. Caps forced to flash over the wall. The Sand Soldiers. The Emperor's divided by time. Reckless finds the shot. Selfmade goes in. There is some support coming. The Stand United is unavailable for now. The rest of Fnatic continue to chase. Perks is in trouble. Goes low, does not go down.
No damage.
They can't kill him. There's not enough damage.
Here comes Caps.
And now Caps is going to look to clean this one up. He goes unstoppable. But they did get the dragon. How much more?
They're going to get them all.
It's going to be the kills. It's going to be the ace. It's only going to cost one and the dragon. And Fnatic are going to push. Do Fnatic keep pushing?
They can do it.
Do not pull a G2. Showstopper into the minions. That's a great
He got the minions. Oh my God. Jankos, you beautiful man.
Not intent to scream that loud.
But we're still on the dragon. The Ocean Soul is gone. Nemesis. He just solo killed Caps.
Kills Caps. The soul goes to Fnatic. They kill Jankos as well. It's 5 versus 3. They can push into the base. Perks is pushing into the base. You are kidding me. This is a 5 versus 1 base race. There's one cannon minion to work with. It gets interrupted. Mickey and Wonder doing what they can. Nemesis is there to defend. Nemesis kills Perks. And Fnatic turn their attention to the Nexus turret. They get one. Stop focusing down the second. The backdoor bonus is just about to end. Fnatic, for the first time since 2018, for the first time in 875 days, Fnatic take down G2.